As the ANC goes into its National Policy Conference this weekend, its discussion papers reveal absolute failure to implement its own policies. The governing party still wants to remain a leader of society, but are delegates equipped to assess key ANC policies and whether they are working? And what about implementation? Let's speak to political analyst Dr. Oscar van Heerden. Good afternoon, Oscar. Thank you very much for your time. How should we be approaching, how should we be looking at this ANC National Policy Conference this time around? It's not the first time the party is holding a policy conference, but it's coming at a particularly interesting time, not just in the country, but in the world.
Yes, no, fine. Apologies, Dan, that I'm still in the car. I got caught up in some traffic. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. This is a critical policy conference for the governing party. There is a number of policy issues that since the elective conference in 2017 in Nasrec, which has not received the due attention. I'm sure that the RET faction within the ANC is going to try and make an argument that under Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership, they did not see any movement on key resolutions. And here we are referring to the issue of land, we are referring to the issue of nationalizing of the Reserve Bank, and policies around Israel, and so on and so forth. And so they are going to try and create an environment that says Cyril Ramaphosa has failed in implementing key resolutions of the Nasrec conference.
Shouldn't it be an opportunity, though, to move out from narrow ANC politics, the internal politics, and look at the state of its role in society as what it calls itself a vanguard movement of the people, and also in terms of very important challenges we're faced? High unemployment rate, I mean, lawlessness and crime is on the rise. Shouldn't be that the focus, rather?
Absolutely, that should be the focus. As you know, Dan, everyone has been saying, including some leaders within the alliance, that fighting and infighting in the ANC is always going to be detrimental to the country. And we are seeing this now playing out, where KZN as a province is wanting to come to the policy conference, arguing that the step-aside rule must be scrapped. There's Limpopo that is supporting it and so forth. And it is going to, as you rightfully point out, divert attention to very key issues. Fortunately, we now see the president has addressed the issue around energy and the energy challenges. Some sort of plan has been put before the nation, and we will now see about the implementation of that. And hopefully, blackouts and load shedding is something of the past in the next few months and years to come. And then, of course, as you say, it's not only crime and the safety and security of people following the July protests and riots last year, and how inept the police services were to actually get it under control. And so these are just two of the issues: unemployment, poverty, inequality. We have been asking about where is the plan to deal with this. We have been saying that if we don't deal with those triple challenges, people are going to get frustrated, and we might have a repeat of last year's protests.
And I was going to come to that point. I was going to come to that point about shouldn't they be concerning about crafting plans around poverty, inequality, unemployment? Because the former President Thabo Mbeki, just the other day, he said there's no such plan. And he said the ANC members should be approaching this issue seriously to come up with a plan.
Look, I mean, I think that to a certain extent, President Mbeki raised key issues, very important. I do think, however, that post the National Development Plan of 2013, the new economic plan, recovery plan, there is a plan. It is being implemented. Ramaphosa was at pains to explain it in his weekly newsletter. But there is a plan, Dan. The point is that it's not being communicated properly, and it's not yet yielding the requisite results.
Yeah, and I've seen some, because the ANC, what they're very good at is ahead of his policy conference, they distribute the policy discussion, the policy conference discussion documents. Some of us have been able to glean one or two things here and there, but the sense is that the language here and there is still the same as it has been for a long time, and every 5 years it's like there's a bit of recycling of some of the thoughts and stuff like that, instead of really trying to break out of the old and really look ahead differently. Do you think we'll see some boldness maybe this time around, or it will still be boldness only around internal issues like who should we be now supporting come December?
Yes, it is unfortunate, Dan, that there is this preoccupation with leadership and contestation of leadership positions. The truth of the matter is that the ANC has a recipe which has worked for them for many years. They talk of things like the balance of forces internationally, given the Ukraine-Russia war and the impact it has on oil prices and petrol prices and so forth. And that's something that we need to take into consideration as a country. But also, it talks the language of a liberation movement and not of a political party. And I agree with you entirely. We need to see an ANC that is modernizing, that is becoming a political party, and is actually discussing bread and butter issues affecting the poorest of the poor in South Africa.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what outcome will come out of this. We hope the conference will go ahead. There'll be no disturbances, especially because already some provinces like KZN and Limpopo, the ANC structure is saying we need to put on the table the step-aside rule, which was a resolution taken at Nasrec. But this is not a national elective conference. It's a policy conference. Issues like that are likely to really create more distractions than focused discussion on the real issues. What are your thoughts?
Well, Dan, you know, I think the ANC delegates from KZN and Limpopo is well aware that this policy conference will not be able to scrap that rule. It can certainly recommend to the elective conference later in the year in December. But remember, this is a ploy to try and embarrass President Ramaphosa, to weaken the president, to say that there are already forces that are going to go to the December conference. We have the numbers, and we are going to push through certain things, whether you like it or not. And I think that is the aim of insisting on the step-aside rule being scrapped.
Yeah, because then that will really create a showdown that this conference should not be busy with. So, come Sunday, I mean, like other media, we at ENCA, we're going to be there covering this policy conference from Friday, talking to all the ANC leaders and hearing how it's going and engaging a sense. But come Sunday, from your analysis, stepping out of it, what should we consider to be a success? Would it be that they really grappled with the issues and they've come up with some new ideas? Because this country really does need some new ideas. And or what should success look like in your view?
I think that success then will look like if an ANC really grappled with the issues. We need to understand what we are doing about the triple challenges which is facing our people. People want to know, like a plan has been put forward with regards to energy and energy challenges, with regards to Eskom and its debt and so forth. We need to have a very clear, specific plan around what is it that we are going to do to create jobs, to grow the economy, to deal with poverty, and in that way, narrow the gap of inequality within the country. Because if we don't do that, if we don't see some measure of a plan, a concrete plan on Sunday, the ANC would have failed the people.
And the person to lead it to that success, is it the president on his own, Matamela Ramaphosa, or is it the job of the NEC? What's your thought finally as we conclude, Oscar?
Very important point, Dan. You know, far too often we like to place things on the doorsteps of one individual. Yes, he is the president of the ANC. Yes, he is the president of the Republic. But actually we have a collective leadership in the form of a cabinet, in the form of an NEC, and they need to all step up and demonstrate why is it that South African voters should take them into confidence and vote for them again in 2024.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oscar van Heerden, political analyst, for his views about what should really this ANC policy conference tackle instead of their narrow internal political squabbles.